All right, welcome to Friday Football Fever OT. We've got even more highlights, reaction, analysis from what we saw tonight. Join us on Facebook Live here as we kind of recap what we saw. And the top thing for me, Craig, was that Central A&M St Teresa game, our Friday Football Fever spotlight game of the week. We had talked before the show who you got, and I really had a hard time picking Central A&M just because they were on the road. They hadn't beat St. Teresa since 2012, and they showed a lot tonight. Yeah, they were down. St. Teresa's defense, they're really good. I mean, they fly to the ball, and they were getting Central A&M out of their schemes. They couldn't really do anything. So I was there for most of the first half. Let's take a look at some of those highlights. Mark Ramsey at St. Teresa used to be at Central A&M, so a lot of storylines between these two schools. Both came in 4-0, looking to move to 5-0, and that fifth win gets you that playoff eligible, so trying to do it early in the season. This is Joey Staub, second play from scrimmage, I think. 71-yard touchdown scamper to put the Bulldogs on top 7-0. Then the Raiders take over and their offense gets rolling. Connor Heaton to Connor Hitchens, takes it outside, makes a defender miss, fights for a first down before being dragged out of bounds. Then just a couple plays later, it's Heaton to Jacob Parody, catches it inside the 5, reaches for the pylon. They give it to him. He might have been down, but it's a good touchdown here. 7-7. We were all tied up. St. Teresa gets the ball back, and they go to their quarterback, Cord Miller, on the keeper. Faked me out for a second. Then he breaks one. He breaks 2 tackles before finally being brought down the sideline for a St. T first down. Then Miller with maybe the prettiest pass and catch I've seen this season to the corner of the end zone. Jacob Briles comes down with it, gets his feet in. It was 14-7. St. T at that point in the second quarter, but Central A&M scores 2 more points than they needed to beat St. Teresa, 28-26. So Central A&M grabs control of the conference with the 2-point win. And it's been a great stretch here of games in the CIC with Tuscola losing back-to-back games. They've all been beaten up on each other, and the schedule really softens up for a couple of these teams here moving forward. But, you know, it's been a fun run, and Tuscola bounces back tonight and gets a win. And so now all alone is Central A&M at the top of the CIC. All the other teams, or the two other teams, Clinton and St. Teresa, both have one loss now on the season. So, look, the Central A&M is really good. I don't know who's going to beat them in 1A. They are. I mean, that's a question that I think is legitimate at this point. Yeah, I think Jacob Parody might have got a little dinged up. Our buddy Joey Wagner at the Herald interview tweeted that he was being tended to on the field. He did finish the game, though, so he was able to play through it. Could that be a factor moving forward? Because he's their playmaker. He's their biggest guy. So yeah, and they have more than one with Hutchins, too, right? That's the nice thing, is that it's not all on Parody. He's the best. Sure, but they have other options, and I think that's what's really good to see. And it's a good time to be a Raider at Central A&M. They were basketball at State last year, and probably going to be this year. And they've got a great chance to move back there this year, and I know they'd love to do it in football as well. All right, so Central A&M and St. Teresa, just two of the good Decatur teams there. Maroa Forsyth in that fold as well. Is a really solid team, even though they lost last week. They did bounce back and win tonight in a blowout. But the other team that's pretty sneaky, I think, is Mount Zion. Yes. And they are right up there in the Apollo and have some really, really good weapons. And I was out at Mohammed Seymour tonight to watch this game between the Braves and the Bulldogs. A little bit of a down year for the Bulldogs in the first year under John Atkins. And Mount Zion came to play early with this Drew London throwing the running back around for the big loss. And the offense gets going after that, airing it out. Ashton hits his favorite target, Christian Criea, for a big gain. Bulldogs defense does step up, though, with a gang tackle here. Multiple penalties, too. Made it 3rd and 28 at one point for Mount Zion. They elect to go for it on 4th and 9 from the 18, and it's Criea there once again. The perfect ball from Summers. 12-0 Mount Zion as they took control. Mohammed Seymour had trouble getting a consistent drive together in the first. Multiple Braves there for the stop. The Bulldogs have a 4th down for themselves. They decide to go for it as well from midfield. Braden Finch comes up with the big-time pass. Plenty of time in the pocket. And he hits Noah Crowley. Looks like he has the first down, but they don't give it to him. Maybe a bad spot there. It gives the ball back to Mount Zion, and if it works on the run game, you might as well keep doing it. Here's Bryson Bartles, a direct snap. He picks up a nice chunk of yardage. Then Sage Davis, a dozen more yards for him to put them in a great position. And the run sets up the pass, right, Craig? And they give it right back to what works here. There is nobody around Kiea there. And Ashton Summers is a really good quarterback. He is impressive to me. Mount Zion, an impressive team. They get the ball, get the job done tonight. 43-8, the final. And Mount Zion has some really good wins earlier in the year, the non-conference wins. We're setting up for a great Effingham, Mount Zion Apollo showdown a little bit later this year.
Yeah, I haven't seen Mount Zion yet, but from what I've seen of games we've been to, is they're really good. Their offense can do pretty much whatever. Like we just saw, they run the ball well, and then they set that up with the pass. And this Apollo, man, Taylorville, Effingham, Mount Zion, all undefeated still.
And Taylorville gets another win tonight.
Yeah.
And so over Mattoon. And so it's setting up. We got some nice little battles here setting up in the conferences, right? Which is so much fun coming up here in the next couple of weeks as we start to get into playoff eligibility. A couple of teams did that tonight at 5-0. Clinching that playoff spot next week, and then you're fighting it out for a conference titles here.
Yeah, we had 3 good weeks here of the CIC, and now the top of that conference is kind of getting to the easier part of their schedule, and now the Apollo is going to start heating up. So it's shaking out good for us. But in the HOIC, GCMs stunned last week. First loss. What did we say? 38-2 over the last 40 games.
Over the last 40 games, yeah.
Going back to 2016, we went.
Yes, that was the last time that they had lost before last week.
Yeah, and they lose last week to Fieldcrest, and now they're back home with a rivalry game against Fisher. GCMS hosting Fisher tonight. First drive of the third quarter. Bunny's quarterback, Will Delaney, drops back to pass, but is wrapped up by Jordan Lee. 4th down. That sets up 4th down. Delaney takes a shot to Drew Purvis, but it's going to fall incomplete. So GCMS takes over on downs. Falcons take over on offense as well. Already up really big, facing 3rd and median. They hand it off to Aiden Lafferty, who gets the first down to keep the drive alive. Then GCMS tried to keep it on the ground. 2nd down and another chain mover from Rylan DeFries. One wasn't enough, though. How about another first down on this drive by freshman DeVries? Tick, tick, tick. Falcons burning that clock. Same drive, 3rd and goal. The Falcons punch it in up the middle for the score to add to it. GCMS takes this one 42-0. Here's Mike Allen, head coach, and running back Peyton Keene after the game on the win.
Good. You know, it was critical. It was key to see how they bounced back after last week, and they forgot about it, learned from it, and moved on. So we're excited where we're at, and we know we can probably play better even.
Really, it was about leaving it in the past, but kind of keeping that bitter taste in your mouth. You know, we don't like that feeling. We want to bounce back. So that's what it was about. It was putting it in the past, but remembering that feeling and using it to work harder on the practice field in the weight room.
No one ever wants to lose, but sometimes you kind of need to. Yeah, I mean, GCMS probably doesn't remember the last time.
Well, those kids that are seniors now would have been sophomores.
Freshmen.
No, freshmen. They would have been
because they've been undefeated the last 2 years. Yeah.
So
they're freshmen. They might not even have been on varsity.
Most of those guys probably weren't on varsity at that point.
Exactly.
They were just watching the last time they lost, and it was in a playoff game. And so, you know, get a little taste of that. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It was going to end at some point, right? You're not going to win every single game every year going forward. So, good win for them. 31-game winning streak snapped last week at Fieldcrest, and they're able to get a statement shutout win tonight over their rival Fisher. Okay, we should have put Effingham up a little bit more here to parallel with Mount Zion. So let's go back to the Apollo here real quick. And our photographer, Anthony, was out at the game tonight. He calls me and he goes, "Hey, Bret, it's 7-0 at half." And I said, "Wow, that's kind of surprising. You know, what's going on? Did you get the touchdown, number one? Because that's what we're always worried about is getting touchdowns." And he goes, "Well, I said Effingham's up, right?" He goes, "No, Charleston's up at half." And I went, "What? Come again?" I was not expecting to see that. And it's nothing against Charleston, but they had their losing streak snapped earlier this year. What was like a 20-game losing streak? Something like that?
Yeah.
And Effingham has come in and blazed everybody this year so far. They're averaging 40 points a game. That's the leader in the Apollo. And so I'm thinking, what? 7-0 at half? So let's pick this one up, and this is the first touchdown and only touchdown in the first half. It's Sam Schutte, 29-yard pick six to give the Trojans the lead. And I'm going, huh? How about this? Upset alert. Later on, it's Braden Reynolds complete. Reynolds doing it all, this time on defense after Charleston gives the ball back to the Hearts. He gets the tackle there, but the Hearts try to get past the defense there. They try and get something going here, and they're able to do it in a big-time way. They take the sack here, but they put up 35 points in the second half, 35-7 run. Could have had that there. Almost beat themselves essentially in the first half from what we saw and talking to our photographer Anthony, but they do get it done 35-14, and that keeps the drive alive for Effingham and that Mount Zion showdown. I believe that's week 8 if I remember right.
Yeah, I talked last highlight package about sometimes you need a loss, sometimes you need a game like that where your back's against the wall. Just to wake you up like, hey, we need to shape up or we will get beat one of these times.
Sure, and credit to Charleston for hanging around.
Yeah, like I said, they're getting better.
No doubt about that.
Just looking at the results, they're getting better from what they have been. So, yeah.
All right, one more game here, Craig, in the Leonard Bowl.
Leonard Bowl, big one. Every year, this is a big one. SHG at Rochester. Ken Leonard, dad, Derek Leonard's son, facing each other. I think SHG won pretty handily last year. At SHG. So this time it was at Rochester. Roll these highlights for us from Rochester. Hank Beatty for the Rockets makes a diving catch in the red zone here to get the Rockets within striking distance, but the Cyclones make a huge stand on the goal line the next play. Rockets turn it over on downs, but on their next play, they fumble inside their own 5, and the Rockets recover. Next play, Jacob DeRocher runs it in for the score. Rockets got the ball back. Beatty takes the wheel route down the field, out of the backfield. He gets a first down for the Rockets here. Then DeRocher again with a huge catch downfield. Almost scores, gets inside about the 10-yard line. Braden Smith for the Cyclones turns a short pass into a touchdown, but DeRocher strikes again, breaking multiple tackles to score for Rochester, and they go on to win it pretty big. 56-21, Rochester a winner there. So son beats father in that one.
Derek Leonard never been a fourth down he didn't like.
Those games are so much fun to watch. Rochester's great.
Galore.
Yeah, Kevin, I know Cubs are beating the Cardinals 8-2, but I think the Brewers lost. I haven't seen a final. Come back. All right, we'll continue to talk.
All right, hey, thanks so much for watching the Friday Football Fever OT. It's been fun and always crazy to me how time flies, Craig. We're more than halfway through the regular season now after week 5 tonight. And the race to the finish here, 4 weeks left in the regular season, and then it's playoff time, and that's always the best time of year for high school football, and a lot of good teams setting themselves up.
Move to Saturday. I like the high school football.
That's true, too. All right, for Craig, I'm Bret. Thanks so much for watching. We'll do it again next week. Have a great night.